There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right, we are live. Raw after SummerSlam has completed. And I thought it was a pretty damn good Monday Night Raw. Let me know, can you hear me okay? Is the microphone working okay? Had some issues earlier, replaced some things, had to restart the system. So hopefully all is okay. If you can hear me right now and it sounds good, let me know. Audio's good. That's all I need to see. Thanks, no doubt. Chad's already in. Dad's already in. All to everybody on X, everybody watching us on Twitch. Appreciate you. Please hit the like button. If you're watching us on X, jump over to the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel. Join in on the conversation. Hit us up on X. You can also send a comment from there as well. We can talk. We'll start right where it ended. The Wyatt Six. They make their debuts, in-ring debuts, I guess we should say. And the interesting note, and again, it's going to kind of be a theme here where I disagreed with them kind of having this match so quickly with them, but then you tie in, it's been 11 years to the, since the Wyatts debuted in the same building, the Wyatt family, and now it comes full circle. Again, it's about the story, and that's kind of the theme that you're going to hear tonight. Little eggs that have been laid throughout that tonight kind of, I guess, came to a head as you're watching things play out, especially with the Judgment Day. We'll get into a lot of that. You saw Chad Gable. He gave the Alpha Academy name to Maxine, said, you guys keep that. As they're walking out, he said they are now called American Made. And then you saw the Wyatt Six go in. Abby the Witch, Uncle Howdy sit down at ringside. They blow out the lantern. And Rowan, Dexter, and Gacy just attack the ring, man. And let me tell you something. All three of them are very talented wrestlers. maybe haven't been used to all their capabilities, but Rowan is so good for a big man, so agile, so nimble for a big guy. Same with Loomis. Loomis is not a small guy, and Gacy so talented. The one thing I did notice, and again, wasn't exactly what like Bray did, whereas Bray used to do the spider walk thing. You saw Dexter kind of just doing on his hands, where he was sliding around the ring chasing Gable. You saw Gacy also go up in the corner and kind of go upside down and just kind of hang there. Not the exact things that Bray did, but little homages to him, and then also the tribute to Brody Lee with Eric Rowan when he did what he did there. And man, dude, it's so good, man. And the fact that they use their bodies just goes so well with the gimmick, right? When they power bombed Loomis to the outside onto them, their finish is a power bomb on top of each other. Just anything that it takes to win, and that's kind of like that gimmick. And again, they wanted to go kind of away from more of the supernatural, make it something that could be long-standing in the WWE storytelling, and I think they found something. I really do. I like the way this is going. I was a little worried because I didn't know how. Again, Bray was the mastermind behind all this, and you can see the notes and everything with the the documentary they did on him, the notes they left and everything else like that. But again, putting it together and then making it work are really two different. I mean, like, it can look good, but does it portray out to the TV and the wrestling audience? And man, when they did the music hits and you start seeing, the fireflies going up, and then they turn to the one camera where I think it was coming from the entrance area out, and it's just nothing but fireflies, the lights on the phones, the fireflies. And it's amazing, man. It is amazing to me. Just, I even wrote down, the note, just the aura of them coming to the ring. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I was worried. I was like, man, there's gonna be an expectation to this. And I thought they did very well. I thought they lived up to every part of the expectation they needed to. And I can't wait to see where it goes from there. Let's see. I thought you were going American Made here. Agree with you. They'll work well together, and the homage. Yeah. It has to be Bo now, right? Hold on a minute. What do you mean it has to be Bo now, right? What do you mean? Sorry. I don't know what the conversations were that you guys were having there. When Chad told the Creeds get up and Loomis and Gacy got up, yeah, the camera work was all. It was everything I thought was on point. The only thing that maybe wasn't was during that sequence, one of the Creeds, I don't know which one it was, didn't really get up and kind of just laid back onto the table. So, again, being very, very picky there. But everything else was just so on point all night long, man. Let's see. Yeah, well, no, okay, with the brains behind it. Yeah, I mean, again, it was always Bray wanted Bo to be there. So, I mean, I get that he has a little bit of the thing there, but Bray was his own, like, man, like, everything that I've heard about him, and then when you watch the documentaries, like, he was just a different cat. He thought everything very, detail oriented through on everything. It was almost like what The Undertaker, and I think I've told the story before, where The Undertaker used to practice his entrance so much to where each step was on a gong. And every movement when he got to a certain area was on the gong, so that everything made every movement was meaningful. And that's kind of where Bray was with that character, with the Fiend and everything else. Everything that he did meant something. And sometimes that gets lost in translation when you get into those type of gimmicks, and it hasn't lost it. And I was worried about, some of that losing it. And then, once they took the masks off, do they lose meanings behind the characters? And none of that has happened. So, I like everything, the trajectory of this is aiming up, up, up. It's going to be interesting to see where they go. Do they keep them as trios, as 6-man tags? Do they break them up into a tag team somehow? Does Bo challenge for a singles title? Do any of them challenge for singles title? Where does the Wyatt Six go now? Because now they're in the mix. They have been in the ring now. Where does it go from here? Karun's in now. Let's see what Terry's in as well. The Alpha Academy officially no more. No, he gave the name to Maxine, Tozawa, and Otis. So we'll see if they keep it. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to keep it or not. We'll see what happens there, and go. We'll see where they at there. I don't know that they're going to do a 6-member anymore, man. I really don't. I think the 6th member might be, just the lantern. Might be the lantern return tonight. It's been out for like the last 2 weeks. The rocking chair was there and the lantern. And again, maybe the lantern is that 6th person, and more like the spirit of Bray being that 6th person. I don't think that they need anybody else right now. I think they have everything that they need. Again, the only thing that would, I guess, kind of make sense would be Alexa Bliss, because if Nikki Cross is Abby the Witch, you have Huskus, you have the Rabbit, you have the Buzzard. There's no Sister Abigail yet. Does Alexis come back as Sister Abigail? They haven't even really gone that route. I don't even think they've mentioned Sister Abigail since the return of the Wyatt Six. So, and again, remember, Alexa also turned on Bray, and then that's when Bray got sick and everything else from there. So they never really got to put that into. So maybe they're just gonna, scratch the surface there. The other things that went down tonight, the big things were the Judgment Day, the new Judgment Day, Finn Balor. Man, dude, let me tell you something. That the promo that they had when Damian stormed to the ring, and they, were going back and forth with each other, and then Finn gets on there, and I'm trying to find the exact notes here where I got it at. Finn says, he'll wait till he's comfortable, till maybe he forgets about him, and then he's going to stab him in the back over and over, and it won't just be him. And then the camera goes out, and it's Carlito, it's JD, it's Dom, it's Liv, and it's like the new Judgment Day right there, man. Dude, I loved the storytelling that they did with this. And going back to when, even on Damian's promo, Finn holds up the picture from Money in the Bank a year ago. When Damian, went to cash in, it kind of caught Finn by surprise. Then Finn got caught by Seth with the stomp, 1, 2, 3, he loses. And then he goes into the promo before the match with JD, and he says, JD, with that big head, you think you'd be smart enough, but you're already getting betrayed now as well, because he's just feeding you to me. And he said, nobody wanted you in the Judgment Day except for one person, Finn Balor. And then JD cuts a promo, and he's like, you never wanted me in the Judgment Day, and and now I'm in and you're out. JD said to him in his promo, they get to the match, and man, they had a great match. I thought that was a very good match. Damian and everything there. Damian says the fans are his new family, and that's who he feels like he let down with that. And just the match itself, I thought was great. The back and forth that they did, getting in with Carlito got in a little bit, breaks up the count. Then they all jump on, Damian. Then Damian comes back, and it's just him and Finn face to face. He goes to basically do the Razor's Edge on Finn. Liv pulls him down. Then Dom comes in, chop block. Him and Liv start beating up on, and then Rhea's music hits, and Rhea just came hauling ass out. And I really thought it was a mistake that she caught Liv, because I thought they should have just ran off. But hey, look, they let him, she ran him twice into the steel post, then goes to put it through the table. Dom makes the save. Then JD gets back in the ring and starts trying to beat up on Dom. Rhea comes up behind him. He turns around. And again, Rhea, not a big fan of JD's either when he first started in Judgment Day. Gives him the headbutt, the South of Heaven choke slam, and they left JD McDonough there. What are they called now? They're the Terror Twins, I believe, is what they're going with now, man. But dude, the pop Rhea gets and Damian now, they're going to be two of the top baby faces for a long time right now on the Raw side. Damian is a top face, and of course Rhea, I think she was already there as it was, but now again, I feel like what they did with his title reign at the end with the Seth, and also with the the matches with Drew, Seth, and all that, just elevated the character that is Damian Priest, and now he can withstand without the title, and now you turn him face, and my God, man, it's going to be so much fun watching this run. And this Raw was just, from the beginning. Also, let's look at what happened at the very beginning of it. Gunther comes out. Ludwig Kaiser is back, baby. That's the big news on Raw. Ludwig Kaiser back, introduces Gunther. Gunther comes out and he says, no, nothing will catch me off guard. And as soon as he says that, Randy Orton's music hits. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? Randy Orton comes down and he says, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have been a champion, and you never beat me at King of the Ring. Triple H knows that, but the referees' decisions are final, and he challenges him to Bash at Berlin. And it's accepted. And then they're kind of talking inside, and Gunther says, you won't catch me out of nowhere. And Orton kind of says back to him, no, I want you to see it coming. So it's going to be great. I think it's a great first opponent for Gunther. Again, I don't know that they're going to put the title on Orton. I don't think they take the title off Gunther that quick. But I think it's one of those things, again, as I was worried about Damian, and then also with Cody and even with Swerve and AEW, is you don't have that strong opponent to make it a legitimate title reign. Gunther against Randy Orton, if Gunther comes out on top again, it's a legitimate title run. It's a legitimate title reign right from the beginning. The first pay-per-view is they're building it up. So it'll be very interesting there. Let's look at the chat here, and says, I could see Damian and Rhea working with Jay and Sammy when Jay and Sammy start tag team matches. Maybe that'll, because you'll have Dom, you'll have Finn, you'll have JD, then you'll have Jay, Sammy, Damian, Rhea, and Liv. So you could do some interesting mixed eight tag teams there, or mixed person tags, or however you're going to do it. But I think what's going to happen is next week it's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match. Sami Zayn's going to get his rematch. I think Braun Breaker probably wins that. Maybe the final one will be actually Judgment Day costing Sami Zayn. You'll see Sami Zayn and Jey Uso team up, and I think ultimately you're going to see Damian Priest or Rhea Ripley cost Finn Balor and JD McDonough, and I think you'll see the tag team titles on Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. And there'll be Usi all over the place. Yeeting and Usying all over the place. So let's see. Orton is on SmackDown. That match is there to raise up Gunther. Yeah, no, 100%. And then what the other thing interesting is you also saw A-Town down on Raw tonight. So I'm wondering if you'll see any of the Raw talent heading over to SmackDown, kind of like a trade leading up to the pay-per-views, and then you'll see them switch back over afterwards. So it'll be interesting. Also, Gunther is going to win in Berlin. Eventually, Damian is going to get another shot at Gunther, and I think Damian beats Gunther eventually. You know, I don't know. I don't know, man, because I think it's going to be Damian and Finn. I don't know if you're going to get that until Bad Blood. I bet you that'll be the match at Bad Blood. You'll get Damian versus Finn at that point, maybe. I don't think you're going to get them at Bash at Berlin. At Bash at Berlin, I think you might end up getting Dom and Liv versus Rhea and Damian at Bash at Berlin. At least kind of looking at how it went today with Rhea going after Dom and Liv, and then Dom and Liv beating up on Damian. I think you're going to see that before you see the Finn Damian. I think they'll draw that out a little bit. So we'll see where eventually that goes. No doubt, imagine Roman and Damian teaming up versus Bloodline and Judgment Day. Oh, I don't know if they're going to mix that many storylines together, man. But there is so many things going on. The fact that, as I said, you've got Orton bringing back up the King of the Ring where his shoulders weren't down and things there. You've got the Judgment Day with Balor going back to Money in the Bank 2023. Like they're going back with some of these eggs that they had. Also, you had the Final Testament with promo, and then it was AOP against Kofi and Xavier Woods, and I figured no way Xavier and Kofi are losing if they're wearing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle outfits. There's no way they're going to have them lose. And ultimately, Odyssey Jones comes down. I was hoping Big E would be the man, but Odyssey Jones comes down, and this guy is just, I believe he was, what is it? Is it a deadlift where you just pick up and you lift it up and from the ground? And I think it's a deadlift. He does almost 800 pounds, man. And he double side slammed AOP. Then he did the spinning slam on Karrion Kross. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston get the win. But the interesting thing was in the back. Kofi and Odyssey are kind of celebrating. Kofi saying during his training to build back up, he was talking with Odyssey down at NXT, the PC, the Performance Center. Xavier Woods' face did not tell a good picture. And I'm wondering if that's going to play out, or if that's just something where they're going to throw it out there to where you think and you keep looking, waiting for them to break up, and it never comes. But it was interesting to see because he wasn't that happy about it. But then Akira Tozawa, Maxine, and Otis come in, and then they all start dancing, and then everything's kind of forgotten there. But Odyssey Jones is from NXT. He used to be at NXT. He got injured. Then he was drafted to Raw during the draft, and he had never shown up until tonight. I think he's done some dark matches, like the main events and things like that. But tonight he makes his debut, and it was a grand debut. And speaking of another one that was very well put together tonight was the Bronson Reed. He's been there before, but he said tonight, he looked at Adam Pearce and he said, I guess I'm going to have to take matters in my own hands, make my own path. And then he went out there and just took the fight, if you want to call it a fight, to Seth Rollins. 7 tsunami splashes on Seth Rollins. And all of this happened after CM Punk comes out. Yeah, no, it was a great debut for Jones. Yes, yeah, and he's a very good talent. He was very over in NXT. I believe he was the North American champion for a little bit, and then now I know, is it Obafemi now? Has been the champion for a while now, but he was a champion in NXT. The CM Punk comes out and he's like, I'm happy, and I'm happy because now they told me 9 months. I came back in 5. He's happy because he's back. Then Drew said he was going to put me down. He's still there. As soon as he says that, Seth music hits. Seth actually really slow walked to the ring. No dancing, no nothing. Just serious walk to the ring. When he gets down there, he says, I'm in a good mood. After 10 years, I'm going to put you in the dirt. And then he went into the ring. And before he get into the ring, Drew's up in the crowd, and he was talking about them. And he told CM Punk, you're no longer the best in the world. I am. He talks about the bracelet. And then when he does, CM Punk leaves, chases up after him. And then that's when Bronson Reed hits. And man, dude, you're talking about changing somebody's momentum in one night. That's what Bronson Reed, what Triple H did with Bronson Reed right there was just reminded you what he could be. He's a guy that Triple H likes. When Triple H started back in creative again, that was one of the guys. He was with TNA at the time, and he wasn't with TNA. He was doing a per match deal with TNA at the time. And that was one of the first guys that he wanted to get back, was Bronson Reed. Guy's agile. The guy can go. And again, you kind of saw it today. They kind of let him loose and took out Seth Rollins. And also, I believe this was more of a chance also to break Seth away from Punk and McIntyre just for a little bit. Now you've got Seth probably going to be out for maybe a week, maybe 2, probably return, go after Bronson Reed. Maybe you got Bronson Reed at Bash in Berlin against Seth Rollins, which ultimately you'll probably make, Bronson Reed look like the big monster, and then Seth pulls it out at the end. And then, or maybe you keep it going for a little bit longer. And then ultimately, I think you're going to end up getting Seth Rollins, CM Punk somewhere down the line, but I think they're going to let the CM Punk Drew McIntyre play out. And now I think you're going to get, at least for the moment, Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed. And I like the fact that tonight you saw a lot of guys getting just pushed a little bit more. It was, a lot of reminding guys what they can do. And you also saw it. Karrion Kross said, people have forgotten, that Xavier Woods has gotten more chances than he has. Bronson Reed says, I'm tired of you disrespecting me. I feel like a lot of maybe real feelings, I'm not saying that they're voicing them, but I feel like a lot of that is being played out in some of these promos and the gimmicks. And again, that's where it's when you can be yourself and you can amplify it up a little bit and it feels real and it doesn't feel like you're trying to, feed me a line of bull. That's when, again, you blur the line a little bit on reality and TV show. Bronson Reed, I'm tired of you disrespecting me. Tonight, I'm going to make you know who I am. What does he do? He goes after one of the biggest guys in the company, Seth Rollins. Bam. Karrion Kross said, I'm tired of guys like, we've given Xavier Woods more opportunities than I've ever been given. There's some truth there. And that's That's what I saw tonight, was that you're looking at a lot of the, I don't even want to call them mid card guys, but the guys that feel like maybe they should be more up on the card and not happy with where they are, allowing that to play out a little bit more now on this. And now you're also building up guys. Again, you bring Randy Orton in, it's going to make Gunther a more, believable champion when he wins. If he beats Randy Orton, it legitimizes his title reign. Bronson Reed taking on with Seth Rollins. It's going to help him build them up. You saw the Wyatt Six in with Chad Gable and the Creeds tonight. All of that is just elevating up. The other thing, though, that I do want to discuss is why Dakota Kai. What is going on with Dakota Kai? She was going to get a singles match tonight with Sonya Deville. She gets attacked in the back. Io Sky takes her spot. And then now next week, it's Io Sky and Kairi Sane against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark for number one contenders for the women's tag team titles. Where does Dakota Kai what happens here? Give Dakota Kai a damn opportunity. Let's see, going to the chat. Do you think Bronson is out of the IC storyline now? Yeah. I think the fact that Sammy doesn't have the title, and then also I think that Bronson's going to be, I believe, is going to be all about, it's going to be interesting to see what they do next week with them, because I got to feel if you're saying Seth Rollins has possible internal injuries and they're sending him for all this stuff, he's not there next week, maybe the week after. So who does Bronson Reed go after next week? Or does he just come out and cut a promo on Seth and kind of let it go up? But yeah, I think he's out of the storyline for now. I ultimately think Dragunov is going to be back into the IC story after the best 2 out of 3 falls. I believe after the best 2 out of 3 falls, Sami Zayn moves out of the IC title picture, becomes probably in the tag team title picture with Jey Uso and the Judgment Day. And then you'll see Bronson Reed. You'll see Braun Breaker and Dragunov as the IC title kind of picture. And then ultimately you'll see others join in the fray, but I believe you'll see those kind of play out. Let's see. You're right. Damian is Raw, Roman, SmackDown. It's too much right now. Yeah, you can't have too many things going on right now, man. I mean, let's see here. The new Judgment Day need an alpha. The current members are hyenas. They need a they need a scar. Okay, sorry. Yeah, but here's the thing, Kroon. I think ultimately Finn Balor is going to be the alpha. Finn Balor is going to call the shots. The fact that, you see everybody protecting him tells me that he's the alpha of that group. He's going to be the one calling the shots. Let's see here. Yeah, it was a very good reveal, man. I liked everything about this. About this Raw. Honestly, I didn't really have a lot. I mean, I did not like the Dakota Kai not getting a push there. But I mean, other than that, I thought everything was on point. And the fact that they're using so much of the past and bringing it back. And again, somebody put this on let me see if I can find a tweet real quick. I think I sent it to myself, so I had it. Yeah, Ryan Satine said, Triple H does such a good job of putting pins in certain stories with well-timed detours for certain wrestlers, then picking up on them again at the right times. And you're seeing that with the Judgment Day, with Finn Balor. Think about how many times, I go back to what Damian Priest, when he was going to take on Seth Rollins, I believe, or maybe it was during the Drew angle. He goes, I don't need the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day needs me. Remember those comments were made, and then it kind of, you got to the point to where it was kind of like, okay, but then everything kind of played back out, and then they became strong again. Then Rhea gets injured, and it started falling apart again. And then you look at Finn tonight, and he's like, for a year, I've been looking at this picture. You cost me a title, and I waited for the right time to strike. And that right time was me costing you the title at SummerSlam. But you're seeing all these, again, Triple H taking detours on guys. The Seth Rollins thing right now, that's a detour for Seth Rollins. Because you can't keep having Drew, Seth, and CM Punk going at it all the time. Here's a little detour. You go with Bronson Reed for a little bit. Let these two guys battle it out, and then we bring it back together at the end. Because ultimately, I agree with a lot of what I saw. I think the end game for that is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I think you're going to end up getting that at probably like a WrestleMania. But the interesting thing is now where everything leads up to on Raw. Because next week you've got the 2 out of 3 title, 2 out of 3 IC title match. You've got the number 1 contender women's tag team title match. And I'm sure a lot more is going to get announced as it goes. So it's going to be interesting. Drew McIntyre was walked out of the building. CM Punk was seen, going out looking for him. They never ran into each other. So that's going to continue as a storyline as it goes. Seth's going to come back wanting blood on Bronson Reed. So that's going to be good. Where does the Wyatt Six go? You've got Rhea and Damian probably going to be hunting down the Judgment Day, being Finn Balor, being Dom, being Liv, being JD. You're gonna get that. So you've got all that to look forward to on Raw, and then you add in that think about this: the Gunther Randy Orton match will be on the 31st, I believe it's August 31st. With so much happening on Raw, all you got to do is just have them cut promos on each other. That storyline, you could build 3 hours of Raw on everything that you're already doing now. You won't need to have those two other than like promos on each other. So it's going to be interesting to see. Post WrestleMania was slow. Yeah. And then also, I think a lot of that had to do with, again, Roman covered a lot of stuff because you always had that heel in Roman as the tribal chief. Whoever you put in against Roman elevated. Once Roman left, there was a big void there. And I believe there still is. I think, Solo has done a good job growing into it, but Solo's not Roman. You know what I'm saying? Like, Roman became just larger than anything else over there. And that's the problem that they're having now. And that's also the problem that Cody had, and the problem Damian's had, is there hasn't been that big opponent until recently. For Damian, it was Drew, it was Seth, and then now it was Gunther, and then they had Finn turn on him. For Cody, it's, what was it? It was Logan Paul. It was, oh my goodness, who was it? Who was the last time? And then there was Solo here recently. But who was the last one? Or no, they put him in the 6-man. He was in the 6-man at the last pay-per-view, and Solo pinned him in the 6-man. So it really hasn't, but Cody had the fans backing and had enough, to make it work. Whereas I think Damian at first needed that Drew, that Seth, and just to show that he was a legit champion. I think WWE knew what they had with Damian. It was just a matter of getting the right people in with him to show the crowd. And then once the crowd picked up on that, and then Damian started becoming cooler and cooler, then it was an easy thing to see that ultimately he was probably going to turn babyface. And they started doing that. and you could see the crowd getting behind him. And then when you had Finn, turn on him and screw him, that just added the gasoline to the fire there for that. And then Rhea was the same. She was over. And I found it interesting. Somebody put in there that Dominic might have been the first person to turn heel as a heel. Think about it. He was hated, and then he got more hated because he went with Liv and turned on Rhea. Like, it is so interesting to see how, these storylines go, man. There's so much really going on in Raw. And honestly, it's refreshing because there used to be like one or two good things on Raw, and then it felt like an hour or so would drag. And right now it just feels like everything's hitting, and it didn't even feel like a 3-hour show tonight. It really didn't, because everything was leading up to, you kept waiting for the Damian Priest, once you found out he's going to take on JD McDonough, I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. Then you had the Wyatt Six, the in-ring debut. You wanted to see how that went. You had Gunther at the beginning. Randy Orton comes out. You had the CM Punk thing. It's just timed out so well. And I love the fact they gave JD and Damian a good amount of time to wrestle. JD is a hell of a performer. And then you bring in Bronson, and you saw what he can do. I can't wait till they let Karrion Kross go a little bit more as well. Because I feel like, I don't know what the situation is behind the scenes, but I felt like Karrion Kross could have also become a good contender for, to help elevate a little bit of Damian by going over on Kross. But they never gave Kross that opportunity because he was stuck in with the New Day thing. And not that that's a bad thing, but I feel like they could be pushed like monsters as well, like kind of like what they're doing with Bronson Reed right now. Let's see here. What else we got? Orton going against Gunther also leads to believe KO and Orton are getting out of the way for the Bloodline story. Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing to see on SmackDown is how that plays out. Because that's going to become the big focal point on SmackDown. So where does that go for Cody? And as you said, Randy, KO. It doesn't make sense to involve them per se like you can have a Tama Tonga versus KO and have Roman or somebody get involved, not helping KO, but kind of like what they did at SummerSlam. He comes out, he costs him, he leaves. But you have to make sure that all of this, and you still haven't brought Jimmy back. Hikuleo has not debuted yet. Jacob Fatu was in a walking boot. Everything says so far that he's good. A lot of this was being said that it was storyline to make sure that him and Roman didn't cross paths yet, because I believe Roman's first feud is probably going to be Jacob Fatu and Roman. I don't know, because the way I'm looking at it is this. If I'm the leader of the bloodline, Roman, you've got to go through my guys before you get to me. That's the way I'm thinking it should play out. Karun says, agreed, JD sells extremely well. Yeah. Now him and they are, there's a lot of good talent there, man. There's so much. And also I didn't even talk about, the whole thing. They had the Miz and A-Town Down, and they were doing all the old Rock and Roll Express tag team moves, which was pretty funny because of what happened at SummerSlam, and he was calling them Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, and they're doing the double tag teams. They're doing the clotheslines over, all the old Rock and Roll Express stuff. And then at the end, it's Archer doing an airplane spin, knocks Miz down, and then Austin Theory hits the A-Town Down, pins R-Truth. Miz shakes it off, says everything's good. I think we're going to get a heel run from the Miz, I think. So, and it'll give R-Truth something to do too. Fatu versus Roman will be wild. I cannot wait to see that, man. I can't wait to, and I hope it's not a one-off. Honestly, I hope it's not a one-off. I want it to be, what's tough is this. So you've got Bash at Berlin in August 31st. There's no pay-per-view in September. October 5th is your Bad Blood pay-per-view in Atlanta. And then your next pay-per-view is the Survivor Series. So there's not like a lot of time to really, because I think the Survivor Series, ultimately, it's War Games. So it would lead me to believe that we're going to get the Bloodline or some form of the Bloodline. Maybe not the full, Bloodline Civil War, but I think you're going to get some form of that at War Games, I believe. That's my own opinion there. We'll see how it leads out and how everything plays out, but it will be very interesting to see exactly how everything plays out. Just checking on some comments here and seeing what we've got. All right, we got a couple minutes, and then we will be done with the Raw. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Squared Circle Digest right here on the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel, also on the Frankie Fresco YouTube channel. Frankie will join me. We'll discuss everything from SummerSlam. By the way, I kicked his ass in the picks. Don't tell him yet. No, I won on the picks, so he's behind me now. So don't forget, we need punishments as well. So if you follow me at Sean_Stanley11 on X, IG, Threads, hit me up on the DMs, hit me up on the replies, wherever you want. We need punishments. What we're doing is we're doing the whole month. So this month you've got SummerSlam, All In, and Bash in Berlin. Those 3 pay-per-views. The best record, the one who loses the most, has to spin the wheel, and the punishment will go down on the Squared Circle Digest Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel, also on the Frankie Fresco YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody that's been tuned in. Please smash the like button for me. Also, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. Subscribers are going up. Still a little ways away from 1,000, trying to get to 1,000. If you're watching on X or on the Twitch, if you could please jump over Stanley Media House YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. I promise you, I'll send you some good content. You can argue with me. You can disagree with me. We can always disagree on wrestling. Everybody disagrees on it. Just keep it respectful. That's all I ask. And I appreciate each and every one of you that are tuned in on X, Twitch, and of course, everybody in the chat here on Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel. We had no doubt. Karoon, Cap for Life, been in the house. We've got Terry, we've got Chad, we've got my dad in as well. So appreciate everybody there that has tuned in. I appreciate you guys spending the late Monday night with me. Have a safe night. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow for the Big O Radio Show, as well as the Squared Circle Digest tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on this YouTube channel, on this X. If you're watching this, it'll be on X and YouTube. So if you're watching us, make sure, please, follow, like, subscribe. Appreciate all your supports. If you like what you've seen, send out the retweet for me. Love you all. Thank you guys so much for the support. And in the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the Sunshine State.